What's up, everybody? We're going to do something a little different today. I'm going to step away from Premiere for a little bit, and we're going to get into Photoshop. Story behind this is I was watching a YouTube video on color grading, and it just really pissed me off. So I decided we'd get into some cool, fun little tools that I like to use for color grading, and they make stuff really easy and neato, and people like it because everything's all Instagrammy. So all right, let's throw open Photoshop real quick and get started. This is mainly going to be focusing around one specific adjustment layer just to kind of keep the theme of just simple, quick stuff. So this will be all about the filter called Selective Color, which is actually not as dumb as it sounds. It took me forever to open it up because I was like, I know what this does. This is totally stupid. But it turns out it's like one of my favorite filters now. So open up this picture of the lovely Miss Rebecca Hen in the bell tower. It's got a kind of crappy crop on it and stuff, but hey, I mean, that's what Photoshop's for. Everything I take is a little out of focus, so deal with it. I'm pretty happy with how that looks as far as camera raw. No point touching it. Be sure, one thing, when you're working with raw, be sure that you change this down here from 8 bits per channel to 16 bits per channel so that you can preserve your bit depth. Now, even though this image was only shot at 12 bits per channel, you don't dither down to 8 bits. You get your full 12-bit range, and then you can have more room to play around in there. Quick lesson on bit depth, just so you know why it's better to work at a higher bit depth. So, you know that darker things have a certain value and lighter things have a certain value, and the midtones are in between there. Well, different bit depths are how many steps are in between black and white. So with an 8-bit image, you take 8, and then you take that to... Sorry, that's wrong. You take 2, and then you take that to the power of 8 bits. So you see you get 256 levels of brightness per channel. So 0 to 255 is what you'll see on a color picker. And then with shooting this as 12-bit, that is 2 to the 12th. You see, that is a lot more, just with those extra 4 bits. That is a lot more data per channel. So that even multiplied by 3 is your total luminance value since we're working in RGB color space. That's a lot. And that's nice for color grading. So all right, we're gonna say we're good with this. We'll take that out in a different one. So we're gonna open image. Quick little tip, if you hold down shift, that changes to open object, and that'll open up your image as a smart object. So we'll just do that real quick. And then you see you can go back and you can double click on it and change your camera raw settings in this. You're like, I want to warm this up with that. Like, you totally can. And that's like pretty neat. And I like that. But I mean, yeah, let's just warm it up a little bit. We're crazy. All right. So say we're good with that. All right. Already a little warm. Happy day playing guitar in the Belmont Bell Tower. Now here comes Selective Color. You go down here, adjustment layer, Selective Color. It's also up here, Selective Color. I just always forget that's there. It's probably faster. In fact, it definitely is faster. Now what Selective Color does is it doesn't just like make the reds come out and then the rest of the image black and white, which is what I was sure it did that forever until I actually tried it out. And I was like, whoa, this doesn't do that stupid effect. That effect is dumb. So just by the way, unless you're like really good and you can pull it off. But today we're assuming that we don't want to do that. So what this can do is it can actually take your different channels here, red, yellow, green, cyan, blue, magenta, your different color channels, and then your whites, neutrals, and blacks. And it can actually change the amount of each color inside those channels. So, and it's working in CMYK apparently, even though we're an RGB image. But that's fine, because I love CMYK. I think it's way more fun for color grading, and I'll probably get some hate. But I guess it's just because everybody else grades in RGB, so might as well change it up. So you can see you add more cyan in the red. See, this kind of makes it this zombie apocalypse feel. You take it out, and it's like you get a sunburn. Like, that's pretty neat. Same with magenta. Magenta is really sunburny when you pump it in. It's like, oh, I'm so embarrassed. And then you take it out, and it's like funny and green. Yellow. Yellow's cool. I dig yellow. and then black. So you can see you can actually change the contrast levels basically. I don't think black actually changes the contrast levels, but it just kind of feels that way. And we're going to go with that. So you can actually change that per channel, which I know lots of people really wanted to do, but it was kind of difficult to do. Or per color, which is difficult to do. I guess not really in curves. Oh well. You can do it here, and you've got more options. So I didn't really feel like tinkering with the reds at all. But what I do like to do is bump up the contrast in the yellows a lot. Just to kind of, it's a fun place to punch an image. So you can wash it out a little bit or bring it up. And you know what? Let's take a little bit of the yellow out of the yellows. And we'll give it a little bit of a cross-processy vibe. Kind of warm that up. I like what it's doing to the highlights around the hair area. Boo. Oh, what you can do for that is that neat tip, which is really fun. You hold down Alt and then you right click and you drag your mouse. That's just way faster. I'm not sure where you enable that in the preferences. I know one of my friends' computers, I always try that on. It doesn't work. So if you do know, put it in the comments and I will be super happy with you. Oh man. How long have I been recording already? I don't care. 413 seconds. Cool. I cut some out at the beginning of this video if it doesn't match up perfectly. I know I always look for that. People say that. Anyway, so now we're going to go down to the greens. There's not really a whole lot of green. There's some right there. And I'm guessing there's a little bit in her blonde hair. But not enough. So let's tone the cyan down just to kind of make those a little more blendy in. I like putting in some magenta. Yellow's not doing much for me. And we'll just kind of bump that down. Now cyans. Let's kind of make these a little less poppy out shorts-wise, you know? So take the cyan out, and that helps out a whole lot. I'll just play around some of these other ones. Magenta's not doing much for me. Yellow's not doing much for me. But yeah, bump the black up. Cool. Blues, I don't feel like touching. Magenta, here's where it starts to get a little more fun. I say that and nothing happens. I thought there was more magenta in this image than there is. I guess it's all red. But now you can kind of apply some stuff in the highlights. This is where you're going to really start to make it gross and distorted and great. So, see, you can do that. That's pretty neat. I'm going to take it out, kind of warm up the highlights a little bit. Added not quite that much. Take out a little magenta. Leave the blacks alone. I like to go whites and then blacks and then neutrals just so you kind of know what you're doing. Know where you're getting. Got your anchor points locked down. So yeah, now we're making stuff happen. Oh, look at that. That's neat. Just, I guess we know what Mojo does now in the Magic Bullet suite. Take blacks and play it with cyan. I kind of dig the opposite of that. Let's make this really mushy and stuff. So there we go. That's pretty nice and cross-processy. But that's not where I want to leave the image. So let's see. You can Alt-click on the bottom layer and that'll solo it with just one layer. Oh man, that looks pretty terrible. So let's take it down a little bit. And what the heck? We'll throw another one on there. I'm going to go back up to reds. I'm going to take some of the cyan out and warm it back up a little bit. Oh, whoop, I'm in blacks. That's why. Thought that was looking a little strange. Alright. Yeah. Make her a little more radioactive looking, you know. Alright, I'm okay with this step for color. So now that we've kind of talked about that a little bit, we're just going to go through real quick and finish off a grade and make this happen. So my next favorite little adjustment layer is gradient map. And what that does, that's a pretty nice black and white right there. I kind of dig. Is it basically says blacks will be this color and whites will be this color, and you can change anything in between. So you can see, you know, I'm just going to leave it like this because I like the way this handles black and white better than a desaturation or a black and white filter. It's a personal preference. I'm just going to take the opacity down and see, bam, 80 times better already. So see, now we're getting a little more of a moody picture in there. That's kind of neat. Let me switch over to the Wacom tablet. We're going hardcore now. Alright. I'm gonna be so inaccurate. Just got the little bamboo one, so not much. And you can't see it, but I also have 4 other monitors connected to this monitor, so it's pretty sensitive with this little tiny area. Alright. Now I say curves just because what the heck. We'll brighten it up. Actually, we use this as just a quick secondary. So for that, I'll hit X to swap my colors so that black is on top in the foreground, and hit Alt-Delete. Alt-Delete, not Windows Delete. Alt-Delete, and that just fills that in. I hit B to switch to brush, X to switch back to white. I'm just gonna just do a real simple, just kind of, hey, look, her face isn't super dark. My goodness, that is out of focus. This is not a deliverable. Oh well. We all take bad pictures sometimes. Especially Theo. Always out of focus, this guy. I need to go ahead and buy some autofocus lenses. I'm too cheap and I keep using the old school glass. So yeah, curves. I feel like no. We'll finish this guy off. Since I figured out super out of focus. So hit L for the lasso tool. I'm just gonna make a quick vignette. I like to use the lasso tool just because I can get a little more random, even though I'm gonna feather it way out anyway. It's still just nice to not have a perfect circle. I like to smooth it out some. And then feather. We'll do what? 400? No, that is not. Screw it. 1,000 pixels. No. Okay. I dig that. Alright, now we hit Control-Shift-I to invert that. And then we go and make another curves layer. And you see it's already applied that selection to the mask. And it has our curves being applied to the outside part since we inverted the mask. So now just take that down a little bit. And this picture is not turning out very good, my goodness. Let's try... Dude, let's just make it a black and white. And we'll put the selective color on top of that, maybe? Makes it a little better. Yeah. This is why I could not survive in a linear world. Okay. Take that out. And then we'll go to the whites and we'll add a lot more yellow. We'll go to the mids. Warm it up. There we go. That isn't the worst thing I've ever seen. Ah, dick. So let's add a quick photo filter and we'll call it good. Bring density down. I like to set my photo filters to color. It's just a little subtle thing you probably can't see on the video. But if you can, good on you, because this makes it that little bit better. Now let's actually duplicate the image with Control J and bring it up. So you just put a little bit back on top. That's always a fun thing to do. Or we can just set it to soft light. And, oh man, this is being way longer than I wanted it to. We'll just filter, blur, Gaussian blur. We'll blur it way out. We'll make this a nice and mushy picture. Dude, let's just put a light leak in there. 'Cause what the heck? Why the heck not? I'm having a good time. We all know you're having a good time. You're watching this guy. All right, I like that. That's kind of fun too. Look at that. Hit G for the gradient tool. I'm just gonna go the other way. That is not looking the way I wanted it to. Funny. Oh, because I did it wrong. I never know which way my gradients go. Oh, gotta make sure you're on the right thing. Let's reverse this because I'm being dumb. And we'll Control J and duplicate that and put another guy over here. And do another one right on our star. And we'll just reduce that down. Just so our luminance values aren't total whack. Select both these and turn the opacity down a little bit. And you know what? We're in Photoshop CS6. So it's a crime to not just at least try their fun new blur. So Control-Alt-Shift-E makes a flattened image above your current one. Just so it saves your work. You know, gotta be non-destructive occasionally. So let's do a iris blur. Just not take any risk. Oh man, makes her look double out of focus. Poor Miss Rebecca. Oh well, focus is overrated. My band director isn't watching this, so he won't get mad at me for not focusing. Theo, focus. 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 That's fun. That looks very photoshopped. I gotta wait for the blur to process. Dumb. Let's make this blue. I love Photoshop. You can just say that and make it happen. We'll do it with a gradient map. There we go. I'm gonna call that one. I rather like that. Oh, one thing I forgot to do. Control-Alt-Shift-E again. Just real quick. I should have done this earlier. Oh well. Go other high pass, and it makes it look terrible, right? And you just use the arrow keys and adjust the radius until you kind of see the detail that you really want to bring out popping out. So I'm looking for stuff mainly on her face, just a little bit, because I'm not going to be using all this other nonsense in here. I'm not going to sharpen any of that. Alright, I'm down with that. And I hit Control U. Just a good practice to desaturate this. That even gets rid of a little bit of the chromatic aberrations that may happen with your lens, especially with my lenses, because they're all old and cheap. So now you set this to overlay, and that's like pretty neat, but it makes all the mushy bits a little funny. Control 1 to zoom in to the pixel level. Now you can Alt-click to make a new layer mask that's already layer mask that's already filled with black. And now get up a white brush with B and make sure it's set to white. And just kind of paint in a little bit. You'll never bring anything out of focus back in focus. Let's just face it. But, I mean, what the heck. At least we tried. Control 0 to zoom back out to fold. I like that. We'll call it. Yeah. Alright. You can save this if you want. You're probably not using this picture because I'm guessing that you haven't stolen any of my pictures. Maybe you have, and that's cool. I mean, good for you, I guess. I'd rather you not, but we can still be friends. Alright. Windows D closes or minimizes everything. And I'm going to call that for that. We did a little more than just the selective color filter, but I had a good time. And hopefully this wasn't too super long. This also minimized cam viewer, so I don't know what my time is. But anyway, hope you have a fantastic day. And I will see you next time. Goodbye.